Hi, my name is Cynthia Heyer, and for the next 60 minutes I'm going to be your host as we explore the most important new development in the balloon industry, the Qualatex Balloon Network. Before we get started with this first volume, Mastering the Basics, I'd like to give you a few tips for studying this material. This professional curriculum is divided into 4 primary sessions: balloon delivery, balloon decorating, balloon arrangements, and balloon business skills. Each session is divided into smaller parts that deal with the various aspects of each subject session. Please don't try to absorb everything in one sitting. We recommend that you organize your study time into small, manageable blocks and use the breaks between sessions to stop the tape and think about what you've learned. And please refer to the accompanying printed material often. Experts tell us we only remember a fraction of what we see and hear, and that it takes many repetitions before we fully internalize new information. So take notes, practice the various skills and techniques, and then go back over each session until you feel confident that you're ready to move on. Now that you have a better feel for how to profit from this program, let's move right into Volume 1, Mastering the Basics. Welcome to the Qualatex Balloon Network. The heart and soul of the balloon industry can be found in the emotions that balloons create, that magical way in which they can communicate. And every day across America, people are communicating, celebrating, caring for each other, reaching out. Every day, 10,000 babies are born. More than 500,000 people celebrate birthdays, and thousands of others get married or are admitted to the hospital. And when you add that to the endless array of corporate and social events, holidays, and other special occasions, it's easy to see that the potential in the balloon business has barely been tapped. This is an exciting and fast-growing industry, and we want to help you, the balloon professional, to seize the opportunities that are out there, to work them for all they're worth, and build a successful and profitable balloon business. You see, your success is our success. So we want you to excel, to achieve all your goals, and we want to support you in every way possible. The purpose of the Qualatex Balloon Network is simple: to help you achieve peak performance as a balloon professional by selling more balloons to more customers and making more money doing it. We are excited and honored for the opportunity to work with so many talented and outstanding balloon professionals, and for the potential results of combining our strengths. The formula for success in the balloon business involves 4 basic cornerstones. First, creativity, the ability to dream and see opportunities for your business that don't yet exist. Then, knowledge, the foundation of information needed to give substance to your ideas. Then skills, the hands-on ability that transforms knowledge into a successful balloon business. And finally, enthusiasm, the most valuable quality in business. Our goal then is to help inspire your creativity, broaden your knowledge, give you the hands-on skills, and stimulate your enthusiasm. The Qualatex Balloon Network brings together many elements, from marketing, selling, and promotional programs to certification exams, membership activities, and contact with top balloon professionals across America. While all these elements are important, training programs are at the center of QBN. Now, many of you out there are seasoned balloon professionals, and others of you are just getting started. So in this program and throughout all the QBN materials, we've tried to present ideas and information for balloon professionals at every level. Beginners will be introduced to many basic concepts of the balloon business, while those with years of experience will have an opportunity to fine-tune their skills and pick up new ways of expanding their existing knowledge into exciting and profitable activities. The skills and techniques covered in this video will be most useful when you modify them and make them your own. While we may show you a certain way of doing something, you may find a way of improving on that method. But we'll always be emphasizing methods, skills, and techniques that have been consistently successful for balloon professionals throughout the world. The end result of this will be a common foundation of skills, knowledge, and systems that balloon professionals can rely on when communicating with each other and working together. So if you wish to be creative and imaginative, that's great. But now you'll be able to do so with a solid foundation of standardized techniques. Businesses are members of the QBN, but it's individuals that register, pass tests, and receive certification and other designations. So it's extremely important that after studying this video and the accompanying materials, you personally complete the written review and register with the QBN as an individual. This will enable you to earn certifications and participate in the full range of QBN activities and benefits. This registration will also let us know that you possess the basic knowledge it takes to run a professional balloon business. We encourage every member business of the QBN to register and certify all of its employees. The more knowledgeable your staff, the more successful your balloon business will be. Okay, let's get down to specifics. We've organized this professional balloon curriculum into 4 basic categories: balloon delivery, balloon decorating, balloon arrangements, and balloon business skills. Now, many balloon businesses have gotten by in the past with focusing on one specific area, such as deliveries. But the truly successful balloon businesses are those that maintain a healthy balance between retail walk-in customers, balloon deliveries, and decorating services. Not only is it easy to transfer skills from one discipline to another, but a business that serves multiple markets is more likely to succeed in the long run. Now, if there's one other quality that's critical for the long-term success of your business, it's enthusiasm. You see, all the knowledge and skill in the world isn't going to help you if you can't get excited about what you're doing. There are more opportunities in the balloon business than you could develop in a lifetime. So be enthusiastic about your work. It could be the most valuable quality you can develop. Now, the balloon business is ultimately a service business, and your biggest cost factor is almost always labor. The speed and quality with which your staff can perform will almost entirely determine how profitable you are, and speed and quality can only be accomplished through knowledge, training, and experience. So when we come back, we'll take a look at the first of our 4 subject areas, the balloon delivery business, right after this.
Graham Rouse on enthusiasm.
Well, if you, this happens in any kind of job, whether you're doing ditch digging or computer sales or anything, you want to love what you're doing and to be fun. In fact, I've had some people who are very successful sort of tell me that, if you're not having fun in what you're doing, you're probably doing it wrong or you're not doing the right thing. So if you don't really like what you're doing, then something needs to change. And this is a medium that's easy to like. I used to work for state government, and we worked with an agency for the blind and did magnificent things, one of the best kind of agencies of its type in the country, so we're really proud of that. But all day we dealt with complaints and problems, and people were in a bad mood with equipment breaking down or whatnot. Well, now people are usually in a good mood and want to do something fun and positive. And that makes it a lot more fun environment to work and live in. And that makes it a little bit easier to develop some enthusiasm, because you're dealing with people that start out in a good mood and you want to build on that.
You know, balloon deliveries can ensure the long-term success of your business better than any other product or service. Just think about it. Every day, people are reaching out to each other. Birthdays, birth announcements, get well messages, Valentine's Day, Secretary's Day, Mother's Day, the list goes on and on. Now, if you brainstorm a list of all these opportunities, then apply your best creative marketing techniques, you can build consistent sales faster than many other businesses. You see, balloons are exciting. They have size, movement, color, and tremendous visual impact. People remember balloon deliveries because they create a strong emotional response. And think a moment, too, of the sales potential of deliveries. Only 10 deliveries a day, at an average of $30 each, would gross $1,500 a week or $75,000 a year. Balloon businesses in small towns of 20 to 50,000 people are doing this kind of volume today. But regardless of the size of your community, balloon deliveries can provide your business with a solid financial base. Now, there are 3 key facets to running a successful balloon delivery business: bouquet design and production skills, delivery techniques, and telephone sales skills. So next, let's visit with Jim Parker of Seattle, Washington, and take a look at some bouquet design and production skills right after this.
Amy Stewart on marketing.
Well, if you just sit back and wait for business to come to you, then you're a business potato. And there's no, you burn off fewer calories for one thing, and secondly, I think that you're going to have, you're going to plateau, and then there's nothing stays the same. You're either getting better or you're in decline. There is no such thing as a real plateau. You know, you feel like you hit a wall. You have to consistently be out there cultivating and nurturing the customers. One thing for sure is that it's a lot less expensive and a lot easier to keep an existing client than to go out and find a new client. And so keeping in touch with the clients that you have, going out there and calling them up. I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm wondering, are you still going to be working on the annual charity event this year? Will you need centerpieces for that? Or Bob, you know, it's your anniversary again next month. Are you going to want a delivery again for your wife? Keeping at it. You can't sit still. You can't sit still. You'll die.
Hi, I'm Jim Parker. It's a pleasure to be here. The first procedure I'm going to demonstrate is cutting ribbon. There are 3 components we're going to be using. 2 base plates, which have 2-foot poles attached, and an aluminum rod, which is bent at the center at approximately 30 degrees. We're going to be cutting 3 spools of ribbon, and 3 spools is about the magic number. You don't want to do 4, and you don't want to do 2. We're going to place a small spool over the stop here, which is made from duct tape, simply wrapped around. We're going to place our first spool of ribbon over that in one direction, the second spool of ribbon in the opposite direction, and the third spool back in the direction of the first spool of ribbon. So spool number 1 and spool number 3 are on in one direction. Spool number 2 is on in the opposite direction. The reason we have this short spool here of fishing line on is so that the friction of all 3 of these spools is the same. The friction of the first spool against this duct tape would slow the first spool down and things would start tangling up if we didn't have this spool of fishing line here. Now we're going to tie the ribbon around the pole. It doesn't matter if you use the left pole or the right pole, and it doesn't matter what kind of knot you use. And we're going to place the poles a distance apart that is equal to half the length of the ribbon that is desired. In this case, our ribbon we want to be 8 feet long, so we're going to place the poles 4 feet apart. If we wanted the ribbon 10 feet long, the poles would be 5 feet apart. Now we're going to start the process of unraveling the ribbon, traveling around the poles. And once you start this trip, you don't want to stop because things tend to get tangled. You do this about 100 times, and you've finished the project. We're going to stop right here. We're going to take a cable tie and gather the ribbon, place the cable tie around this half of the ribbon, cinch it up. If you don't have a cable tie, you can use a latex balloon that's uninflated. One or the other, not both, is necessary or are necessary. cut the ribbon across from where the knot is, and there you end up with 8 feet worth of ribbon nicely collected. Now I'd like to demonstrate a method for tying balloons which will allow your employees to blow and inflate and tie balloons for hours on end without wearing their fingers thin. Now typically, perhaps you've been tying your balloons by wrapping the balloon around both fingers. As you can see, that wears these areas of your finger thin within an hour probably. In this method, we're going to use our forefinger and thumb on both hands. Take the balloon, grab it with the forefinger and thumb of the left hand near the top, near the bottom with your right hand, flip the balloon down toward your stomach so that you have a loop, then push the neck of the balloon or the lip through this loop, pull through, and you've done nothing but use the inside of these fingers. And that's all there is to that process. In the next demonstration, you're going to see 2 new methods for tying knots. I say 2 new methods. They're fairly new for me. Perhaps they aren't for you. But let's take a look at the standard method that I was using for a long time, and I've seen many other companies use, where you take a balloon that's been knotted, a piece of ribbon, you place this loop that you formed in the ribbon around the knot of the balloon, and then you reinforce it. It's a 3-step process: knot in the balloon, 2 knots in the ribbon. Well, that method is out the window. Take a look at this. Blow up the balloon, tie your knot, take a piece of ribbon and form a U. Grab the ribbon with your right hand, put your fingers from your left hand through this loop, grab the ribbon, pull it through, and you have what appears to be a double loop. And you place this around the knot of the balloon, pull on it, and you have all that you need for a knot. If the wind pulls on the balloon, the knot is reinforced. If someone pulls on the ribbon, the knot again is reinforced. It's a lot quicker than that method that you just saw. Now, an even faster method is to take the balloon, inflate it. Do not tie the knot yet. Grab your ribbon, tie the ribbon, don't tie the ribbon, tie the balloon around the ribbon. In fact, all you're doing is lying the piece of ribbon on the balloon and then forget about it. Then proceed with tying your knot, and your knot is being tied around the ribbon. It's a 1-step process. It's the quickest of the 3. Unfortunately, it has a big disadvantage. In high winds, if you're outside, the balloon will slide right off of this line in many cases. But a big advantage is in centerpieces. If you need to adjust the height of this balloon, you can easily do that by slowly sliding the balloon up or down the line. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you 2 methods that will be helpful if you're working in ballrooms with high ceilings, ballrooms or any other room, and you're preparing bouquets or groups of inflated helium balloons. Using the tank, you take your collection of ribbon for your first bouquet. Let's say you have 12 balloons in this. Tie an uninflated balloon around the 12 pieces of ribbon. Then take the open end of the balloon and attach it to the end of your nozzle. Now this secures the ribbon while you inflate the balloons and tie the balloons to the ribbon, as I'll demonstrate here. Using my preferred method, the double loop, I let the balloon go and I proceed with the next group of balloons, and I'm all set. When I finish, I remove the balloon that's holding the bouquet onto the nozzle and tie it to a chair or some other object. Now another method is to use a clamp, take the 12 pieces of ribbon, tie a slip knot, which is one loop tied onto the handle, and then what's called a rabbit ear. That's a slip knot. As you can see, it unties easily without damaging the ribbon. If you'll look at this group of balloons here, I've already done that. I have my clamp, and I have a large group of balloons that have been inflated. I'm going to add another one to complete this bouquet using that same double loop method. I'm all set. Now I'm going to remove the clamp, take it to another part of the ballroom, attach it to whatever I need to, start over again with the second clamp. And there you have two great methods for working in ballrooms with high ceilings.
Jackie Sutherland on efficiency.
I feel I've always been pretty much efficient in my life, but I have seen others that are not. And it can lead to a couple of things, especially with floral design, if you're working with water and so forth. If you don't clean up and go before you go to the next project, someone can slip and fall and hurt themselves. And you have to learn how to, play. If you're right-handed, you put your materials on your left, and you have a system of working that's quicker and is more efficient. On the job, workstations are very important that are planned ahead of time. If we have a large job with 10 people on the crew, we know before we get there which people are our best tires, best inflators and so forth. We're going to put them at this station. We're going to explain to them exactly what we want them to complete that day so that they're not in a fog as to what their assignment is. And it's all just preparation, and once you get a system going, I think it's much easier, and you do see that it is efficient. With centerpiece work, there's a lot of little elements and things that go into creativity and so forth. Things can tend to get to be a mess, but you do need to clean up, as you go and stay organized.
What you're looking at is the gumball balloon, also known as the neon gumball if 260Qs are incorporated in the design. There's no doubt about it. The balloon business is becoming very competitive, but you can get a competitive edge by learning more complicated designs. The next series of demonstrations is going to show you quick and efficient ways to put some of these designs together. The first design, the gumball, begins with a clear or somewhat clear. As you can see, this is a balloon that is partially clear. 16-inch balloon, and the first balloon that goes inside is placed inside the 16-inch balloon by itself. The other balloons are waiting down here on the table. The trick to making this work and to making it easy is to align the lips of both balloons, the 16-inch and the small 5-inch balloon that we have here. Now, pinching both necks, I'm going to place these balloons over the nozzle, but the 5-inch balloon is off to the side. The nozzle is actually just penetrating the 16-inch balloon. Holding both necks, I'm going to inflate the 16-inch balloon to about 3/4 of its size. Next, pinching the necks again, I'm going to place the 5-inch neck over the nozzle, pinch both necks, inflate the smaller balloon, stop, pull down on the neck of the 5-inch balloon, thereby creating a plug so that helium doesn't leak out of the 16-inch balloon. Tie the 5-inch balloon, push it down into the 16-inch balloon, hold the neck of the 16-inch balloon, and then begin the same process with my second balloon. However, in this case, I'm using a 260Q, which is rather long. To make the process quicker, I'm going to gather the length of the 260Q, ball it up, shove it inside. Okay, there I've aligned the neck of the 260Q and the 16-inch balloon, and I'll repeat the process that I used with the 5-inch balloon, and that's all there is to designing these neon gumballs. Next in our series of extra creative balloons are the Confetti-O and the Ribbon-O. These balloons are designed by simply inserting high float into a balloon which coats the inside and creates an adhesive for the confetti or the ribbon to adhere to. Now we're going to put high float in it to coat the inside. Then, tackling the Confetti-O balloon first, we're going to take this device, and any funnel-like device will work for you. Blow into the funnel, so you open up the balloon. This is metallic confetti in the shape of hearts and circles. You want to avoid using stars because of the sharp points which will penetrate the balloon and pop it. If a balloon like this does pop, it's a big mess. Now we're going to put about a handful, the equivalent of a handful, of confetti inside this balloon. It sinks to the bottom. Then slowly pull out the funnel and quickly inflate it. Quickly inflate it because if you do it slowly, you won't get the coverage that you get when you inflate it quickly. And tie it. And attach your ribbon and you're all set. In the second case, I'm going to put in the high float, rub it around, place the nozzle inside, blow, place the ribbon inside the funnel, now the more ribbon you put in, the greater your coverage and the nicer the product looks. You'll need a pencil or the equivalent of a pencil to push this ribbon down inside. And we'll repeat that quickly. The ribbon is about an inch long, all of these pieces. It's a good way to get some value out of the ribbon scraps that you have in your shop. All right, we're all set. Remove the funnel. Again, inflate quickly so that you get good coverage. I don't know if you noticed, but there were a couple of areas where the ribbon was collecting, and I directed the jet of helium into that area, which broke it apart, and I have really good coverage in this case. Don't expect to get this right off the bat. You're probably going to have to inflate a dozen before the process is comfortable and easy for you, but eventually they inflate very quickly. Our next demonstration will show you some unique designs using geodonuts and geoblossoms. Why don't we start with the geodonut in the format of a face. The components that we're going to need are a hot glue gun, and a cool version of the hot glue gun works best for this, 260 Qs, 5-inch balloons, and small hearts. To begin with, take the two hearts, inflate them, place the first heart through the center of the geodonut, tie the two together, then inflate the geodonut. Inflating it very largely. There's a tendency for people to underinflate this balloon. By doing so, you drastically reduce the floating time. And as it is, at maximum size, the floating time on this balloon with all of those features glued to it is in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 hours. Next, we're going to inflate with air these components, the 260Q mouth, the 260Q eyebrows, tie them off, cut off the excess, and glue them with the cold glue gun. Then we're going to take the 5-inch orange balloons, they're slightly underinflated, tie them off, cut off the nipple, and glue them onto the face right above the nose. The eye pupils are made from glossy stock paper, just cut out and glued on. And you tie your ribbon to it, and you're all set. There are many variations. Your imagination can run wild with those balloons. Next, we have a space-like version of the geodonut, which is done simply by inflating a 260Q first, placing it through the center of the geodonut, tying it off, and there you have that. The geo blossom is enhanced by taking two 5-inch balloons in coordinating colors, tying them together through the center of the blossom before you inflate the blossom, then inflating the blossom and tying it off. As I said just a moment ago, your imagination can carry you much further, but here are 3 unique examples of what you can do with geo balloons. I'd like to now demonstrate a couple of methods for enhancing large latex balloons. In this case, we have a 3-foot paddle heart with a collar made from cellophane. Cellophane is very inexpensive and can be purchased through local floral supply companies. In this case, we took 2 pieces that are approximately 2 by 3 feet in size, bunched them together at the center, placed them together, wrapped the ribbon that is going to be the tie for this balloon around the center here. Then using this ribbon, tied it directly to the neck of the balloon. Then we rearranged the cellophane so it fanned out, covering 360 degrees. It has a nice full look. And if you want a fuller look, if you want to use another color, simply repeat this process and add it beneath what you see here. Now we've enhanced this particular balloon with a variety of widths of satin ribbon. We've gone a step further and attached latex small hearts to the line that the balloon is tied to. We've also included some foil balloons, which bring us up to the California laws restricting metallic ribbon and foil balloon usage.
When designing bouquets of any kind, we recommend that you conform to the California law. This law requires that helium-filled silver balloons be attached to an anchor such as a mug so that they won't float away accidentally. Helium-filled balloons, when sold in a bouquet or delivery arrangement, should be attached individually to the anchor. And finally, no metallic ribbon or anything that conducts electricity should be attached to helium-filled balloons. This is the law in California, and for the rest of us, it just makes good sense.
We'll be back with some delivery techniques after the break.
Terry Edition on efficiency.
There are inefficient ways of doing things and efficient ways of doing things. And for example, sizing balloons. You can make a beautiful garland, and after you have it all done and it's up, and you have a few balloons in there that don't quite fit into that garland, it ruins the effect of the whole garland. So if you learn how to size your balloons properly, that will save you time because you won't have to go back and repair and fix that garland to make it better. And that way you can sell more garlands because you'll be more efficient, getting that job done quicker, and you can move on to the next job. There's other things, knowing where your helium tank is, being able to work in close proximity, have all your supplies in one place so that you aren't running back and forth and wasting time doing those kinds of things to finish and complete a job.
Balloon deliveries are events. The visual impact of a beautiful bouquet of balloons puts the recipient right at the center of attention. Bouquets create strong emotions, make people happy, and are far more memorable than other kinds of gifts. Just how memorable depends on your skills as a performer. Now, I don't mean you have to sing and dance, although you well might. I mean your ability to create an event, to draw everyone's attention towards the recipient. The more memorable your presentation, the more likely you'll be able to get additional business be in more demand, and charge more for your deliveries. Now, each delivery has 3 parts: the entrance, the presentation, and the exit. Even if you're leaving the bouquet for someone who's not there, performing these 3 stages professionally will leave a lasting impression on everyone else. So teach and encourage all of your delivery people to practice and personalize their version of these techniques. When you're carrying a big bouquet of balloons several feet in diameter, you're conspicuous, to say the least. You're not going to sneak into a building without someone noticing, so the secret is don't hide. Act as if you're on stage. Smile, look everyone in the eye and greet them, and you'll become a walking billboard for your business. When you get inside the building, introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm Jenny with Beautiful Balloons, and I'm here to present Alan West with this bouquet of balloons for his birthday.
Then when you find him, smile and present the bouquet something like this.
Are you Alan West?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Alan. I'm Jenny with Beautiful Balloons, and I'm here to present you with this special bouquet of hand-picked balloons. I would like everyone to join me in wishing Alan a very happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Of course, you'll need to develop different presentations for different occasions and individual reactions, but you get the general idea. Then when you've made the presentation, the exit can be just as simple.
Enjoy your birthday, Alan, and may you have many, many more. If any of you need help celebrating, call us at Beautiful Balloons, and we'll surprise and totally embarrass any of your family and friends.
After bowing, simply walk away smiling. Very few delivery businesses consistently employ proper presentation techniques, but those that do not only give their customers full value, they also make more money. Another way to make more money is with proper telephone techniques, and we'll be back with that after the break.
Peter Lasagno on showmanship.
Our crew goes in with shirts, our Balloon Haven shirts and aprons, with cards in their pocket, ready to give a card out to someone at the front desk when they're asking where they're going to be delivering, and they'll go in, do a full presentation, get everyone to sing happy birthday if that's the occasion, and then do a thank you, we hope you enjoyed everything, and wish the client a happy birthday, and then leave and be ready to answer additional questions about where the balloons came from and hand out cards. So you have to be very uppity to deliver a balloon bouquet. If you just walk in and hand it, put it down on the table, no matter how spectacular that bouquet is, it still would not get the same effect as if you came in and just had a smile on your face and read a greeting out loud and wish the customer the type of celebration, wish them a happy birthday or get well soon.
When someone calls up your store, one of the most often asked questions is, how much are your balloons? Now you should welcome that question with open arms, because just by calling, what they're really saying is, please tell me all about balloon deliveries. How you respond to this will make the difference between getting the job and making money and getting passed up. You see, people don't buy from you based on price alone. They buy based on value. And in the balloon business, the motivation to buy usually boils down to one or more of the following reasons. They want to surprise the recipient. They want the recipient to feel special. They want to celebrate an occasion. They want to express sentiment or emotion in a creative way. Or they want to be remembered by the recipient. None of these reasons say anything about saving money. If they had no money, they probably wouldn't be calling you in the first place. They're not necessarily looking for the cheapest deal in town. They're looking for the best value. So start now to learn how to give it to them. Here's the best answer to, how much are your balloons?
We have bouquets of balloons in all different price ranges. Who are the balloons for and what's the occasion?
Within the first 2 questions, try to find out who the recipient is and what's the occasion. Then you can start to uncover the other valuable information you'll need to begin some professional, creative selling.
Your husband's birthday. Fun. Sure, we've got some wonderful birthday bouquet ideas. All kinds of special themes.
Next, you need to find out where the delivery is to be made. If it's outside your delivery area, you can save yourself a lot of time and effort.
Henry's Restaurant. Oh, that's a wonderful place. We just did a delivery there last week.
Now you need to start gathering the details that will help you sell a specific design. Ask the caller to tell you about the recipient and his interests. If your caller isn't forthcoming, suggest things.
Can you tell me a little bit about your husband? You know, what he's interested in. Hobbies, music. Does he have a favorite color? How about sports? Oh, golf. Oh, that's great. We have got some really super golf ideas.
When you think you know enough about the event, the location, and the recipient, you're ready to start some suggestive selling. Always describe the delivery in colorful, exciting detail before mentioning anything about price. Try to build your word picture around these 4 key ideas: the theme of the bouquet, how colorful it will be, the size you plan to make it, and the approximate number of balloons you intend to use. Now watch how our delivery person uses these 4 key ideas to paint a vivid mental picture of the bouquet itself and the exciting event she will create with the presentation.
We could put together a golf-themed bouquet featuring a foil balloon that says, "Happy birthday to a real swinger." And then our most popular foil birthday balloon, which is white, and it has colorful confetti printed all over it. Then we could add to those a happy birthday star-shaped foil balloon. We always like to say, "You're a star on your birthday." And we could put in 9 big latex balloons. They are the brightest colors you have ever seen. And then we could tie all dozen balloons onto a box of Titleist golf balls and a bag of golf tees. Golfers always need those, right? Now the price of this bouquet is $35. When your husband sees this huge, beautiful bouquet coming toward his table with golf balls and everything, he is not going to believe it. We could have everyone there sing happy birthday to him. That should make him feel pretty special, don't you think? Oh, I'm sure this will be a birthday he will remember for a long, long time.
By putting the price in the middle of the description, the caller's focus is on the reaction of the recipient, not on the price. The caller will come back to price if it's out of her range, and you can scale down the delivery at that time. Always start on the higher end and let the caller pull you back. Once your caller starts getting excited about the surprise the recipient is going to get, they forget all about whether or not $35 is too much to spend on a balloon delivery. So, after describing the bouquet, the price, and the presentation, ask your caller, "How does that sound?" If they respond with a statement or question unrelated to price, you know they're ready to buy. And finally, follow up by asking them how they'd like to pay. In summary, then, a call for price is really a call for value. Find out all you can about the recipient and the event. Paint a graphic word picture of the bouquet and the excitement you propose to bring to the event. Start high and let the caller bring you down. And finally, close the sale by asking for the method of payment. Every time your phone rings, it should remind you of a cash register ring. Train your staff to really sell over the phone. It'll make your customers happier and it'll make you more money. And we'll be right back with more right after this short break.
Steve Smith on telephone sales.
You want to demonstrate a high degree of enthusiasm and positive attitude about what you do on the phone. I think just how you talk to a customer on the phone can make the difference as to whether you get the sale or not. And for somebody that's just beginning and has a fear of phone sales, do some scripting. Sit down and actually and act out phone calls with a family member or a friend or an associate, and come up with a little outline script that you can keep by the telephone, and that will be very helpful and allow you to keep control when you're on the phone talking to customers. And it's especially important for someone that's been hired and doesn't have any experience talking on the phone.
In this session, we're going to rejoin Jim Parker from Seattle. Jim's going to share with us some of his insights into balloon decorating.
In this section on basic decorating, I'd like to discuss the construction of the balloon garland, which is the common denominator in arches, columns, swags, and a number of other sculptures used for balloon decorating. I'm going to start out by putting together a cluster of 4 balloons that have been tied together. Please watch. Notice I used a template to make sure that both balloons were the same size. I'm going to tie the balloons together in this method with 1 knot. I'm going to take 2 other balloons that have already been tied, cross them together, twist them, then place them on this line. Now the line that you see is heavy nylon cord, about the thickness of a pencil. The reason I'm using it here is because fishing line would be hard for you to see. But this is the line that we use when decorating outside. It ensures that whatever we're putting up isn't going to be broken in a strong wind. Inside, we prefer to use fishing line because the line is invisible and that's more attractive. And the minimum strength that we use is about 50 pounds. To begin the construction of a spiral garland, the clusters have to be placed sequentially in a specific color arrangement. What you see here is 2 clusters that begin this process, and I'm going to continue by ensuring that I am organized color-wise in the same pattern, and I am. I place the balloons over the line, align them with the light colors, rotate slightly to the right, and intersect. Now I need to wrap the line around one of the balloons once, twice if necessary. As long as it stays there when I'm finished, I can continue with the next cluster. Here we go. It's a quick process. Now, had I used paper clips instead of tying these balloons together, I would have used twice as many steps. The only advantage in using paper clips is that if a balloon falls off of the paper clip, it's simply a matter of attaching one more balloon in the place of the one that was lost. In this situation where you've tied all the balloons together, if one falls off, chances are the other balloon is going to fall off. That's about the only downside. Certainly the advantage in tying balloons together rather than using paper clips is you've eliminated half of the steps. Let me place one more cluster here. We have a nice, even pack. They're not too tightly packed, they're not too loose, and we're ready to move on to using 5 balloons in a cluster. Now, in the method of using clusters where we have 5 balloons per cluster, let me first tell you about the tie and twist method. You start out with 2 clusters of 2 and tie in the 3rd balloon to one of the pair after you've prepared the other 2. Then take all 5 balloons and twist them together. Place them onto the line, arrange them properly, and lock them into place. And you'll notice in this process that using 5 balloons does take a little more work than 4 balloons in spiraling. And while it does take a little more work, you can tell that the look is clearly fuller than the look with 4 balloons per cluster. The choice is simply up to you. Now, paper clips do have a definite advantage when using small balloons. The small balloons just tend to be a little too small for this not to be too tedious when tying them together. So use a paper clip by opening the paper clip slightly. Well, that's about a 45-degree angle. Slide the balloons onto the paper clip so that they gather at the bottom, the south end of the paper clip in this case. We're putting 5 on, so I'm putting the 5th one on, sliding it down. By the way, this part of the paper clip penetrated only 1/2 of the nipple of the balloon. Now we close the balloon, the paper clip, back to its original shape, and then slide it onto the line as if the line were a piece of paper. By that I mean, there's the line, pretend it's paper, whoops, slide the line on, and it will eventually intersect the center loop. Then arrange the balloons into a petal form and slide them so that they intersect. Then wrap the balloons around the line, one of the balloons around the line, one or more times until you get a good anchoring effect. And there you have 5 balloons per paper clip. If you're using 4 5-inch balloons, the tie and twist method works just as well. It's just when you get 5 or more balloons that it seems to be a lot easier using the paper clip. Now, if you're using helium in the larger balloons in these garlands where you're making arches or columns, you'll need anchors to hold them down. And this is a weight made from 3-foot round balloons filled with water. They could be just as well filled with sand, and in fact, I think the preference is probably to use sand in case one of them were to rip open on you. If this isn't enough weight, you can reinforce it by simply adding 1 more, 2 more, or 3 more balloons. And this works well outside as well as inside. And if you bring the base of your column or arch down far enough, you can completely conceal this. Now take a look at the wall behind me, and you'll see that we've used several methods in construction. All of the construction units are columns. The red and purple column incorporates 2 methods. We have 5 balloons per cluster with both colors. The red, however, is really a pearl fuchsia, by the way. Incorporates 5 balloons per cluster using a paper clip. The pearl purple at the top and bottom of those columns incorporates the tie and twist method, again using 5 balloons per cluster. Now the pearl teal wall behind there uses 4 balloons per cluster, and you'll notice if you look carefully that there are 2 sizes in the wall. That allows the columns to intersect tighter than they normally would, but that's a procedure that we'll get into in another session. Now your chances of decorating a television studio are probably fairly slim, but nevertheless, let's have some fun and take a look at how this was done. Another form of arch, which is much simpler than the cluster arch, is the string of pearl arch. I'm constructing this on a line which is much heavier than I would normally recommend for indoor work. This is the nylon cord that I was using earlier to demonstrate. Fishing line is generally used unless you're outside in high winds. This line has been tied to anchors at the right and left sides that allow me to form a continuous loop. It's much like a clothesline between 2 high-rise apartment buildings in a large city. I can stand in one spot this way and continuously attach balloons sliding the line rather than walking from the tank to the line back and forth, back and forth. Now, the process of attaching the balloons to the line begins by placing the balloon so that it's perpendicular to the white line, then tie the balloon around the line in a knot, cinch it up so that you get a tight knot, Continue adding balloons until you have as many on the line as you'd like. Then cut each end, anchor each end, and you've got an arch.
June Smith on decorating.
I think the secret is education, to learn about what you want to do. When I went to my first balloon convention, it was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got there and I was so blown away by what was done with balloons in the balloon industry, and I realized like this, I had found my niche, that this was it. This is what I had been looking for all my life, and that these people were just as crazy as I was. And I wanted to learn everything I could about it, and from what I've done, I've won awards and I teach, I still can learn. And I think that is the secret, is to just keep learning.
Many of the events for which you create balloon decor will also provide opportunities for the sale of centerpieces, showcase designs, and other arrangements. Arrangements can be one of the most rewarding areas for a balloon professional, not only in sales and profits, but also in customer and artist satisfaction. But please be careful. Creating arrangements is somewhat like playing a musical instrument. A little bit of knowledge can enable you to carry a tune, but it takes years of study and practice to become an accomplished master. In other words, it's easy to wind up playing over your head. This problem can be seen daily in the hundreds of florist and balloon shops who sell centerpieces but don't have the foundation of knowledge to create outstanding arrangements. It takes years of study and practice to truly master the art of showcase arranging, and the place to start is the book Design by Gary Wells. If you don't have this book already, run to your nearest Qualatex dealer immediately and get it. It contains an excellent review of the principles and elements of design by one of the world's top artists and will be the foundation for all arrangements presented in the Qualatex Balloon Network. Arrangements is a broad term that loosely describes any formal grouping of balloons, flowers, greens, containers, and other items constructed into a display. Centerpieces, on the other hand, are specific types of arrangements, usually ones that are placed on tables around which people are seated. Most party or special event centerpieces are for round tables 60 to 66 inches in diameter, or for long banquet-style tables. There's one cardinal rule for making party centerpieces: don't block the sight of people across the table. The most spectacular, gold-plated, diamond-studded, artistically perfect centerpiece is a complete failure if Joe can't see Mary sitting on the other side of the table. There are two easy ways to test your centerpieces. Measure up 14 inches from the tabletop. Above this height, you shouldn't use any elements that people can't see through. Another way to do this is to rest your elbow on the table. The place where your wrist bends is the approximate height where the solid objects in your centerpiece should end. Oh, that's beautiful, Jim. Thank you. One of the great advantages of balloons in arrangement design is the height that helium-filled balloons can provide. Ribbon or colored thread is easy to see through and provides a great way to add height to centerpieces that would ordinarily be stuck to the 14-inch height rule. And always hide your mechanics. If you use foam of some type, never let it show. Cover it with foil, moss, balloons, feathers, anything. And cover up any taped parts with ribbon. Don't let your tricks show. And if you use balloon cups and saucers, add some ribbon or a bow to make your work more visually appealing. Be sure to make your centerpieces strong enough to survive transportation and handling by guests. If your piece can't be picked up and moved without falling apart, it's time to rethink a new, stronger design. And as with most art, less is more. If you don't have a sound reason to add something, don't add it. Ask yourself, is this baby's breath really needed, or is it simply left over from last week's wedding? If you have a good artistic eye, as I know most of you do, nearly everything in the principles and elements of design will make a great deal of sense to you intuitively. But good eye or not, please study Gary Wells' book and other design sources. Learn the principles and habits of good design, and don't get caught playing over your head. And we'll be back to study some valuable business skills right after this break.
Gary Wells on design.
One of the major principles that I find violated most times is balance. People find it hard to comprehend the principle of balance in a design, maybe incorporating different size balloons in design and not have a proper balanced perspective on that. Maybe using too large of a balloon for the container or for the table that it's going on.
Figuring how much to charge for a balloon job isn't as difficult as many people believe. There's a definite formula that's very reliable for any kind of balloon work. Yet it's still amazing how many businesses are flying blind when costing their work. There are 5 major components that factor together to create your final customer price. First, materials. The things you use, such as balloons, helium, line, ribbon, plush, coffee cups, weights, and so on. Then there's the labor, the hourly wage you've established for yourself and your staff. Third, expenses, those additional costs that go with every job. Next, overhead, the annual cost of being in business. And finally, profit, the amount you wish to make free and clear after all the bills have been paid. Let's deal with each of these components separately and learn how to combine them correctly into your ultimate customer charge. First, maintain an accurate running total of the exact cost of all components that go into every job. Put this number to one side as your cost of materials. Labor costs are easy to work out. Take the number of hours a person works on a job and simply multiply that by the hourly rate that person gets. If you're the business owner or a family member and don't get paid an hourly rate, figure out how much it would cost you to hire someone with your talents. There are about 2,000 hours in a work year, so if you had to pay someone, let's say, $30,000 a year to do your job, this puts your hourly rate at about $15. Now that you've got the cost of the materials and labor, add in all your expenses. These are the incidental items such as transportation, parking fees, meals, lodging, or special equipment like high lifts and lighting. Now add up these 3 totals: cost of materials, labor, and expenses. The total of these 3 is called the direct cost, and let's say that on a delivery job it came to $13.50. Now we need to factor in some percentages. The first is your overhead. Overhead is the annual cost of operating your business. Things like rent, advertising, owner's salary, telephone, office supplies, professional fees, and all the other things that can't be applied to a specific job. Figure your overhead percentage by dividing last year's operating expenses by your total sales from that same year. For example, $50,000 in operating expenses divided by $200,000 in total sales equals 0.25 or 25%. Now your percentage may be as high as 50 or as low as 15%. It'll vary drastically from one business to another, so don't get hung up on our numbers. Next, you add to this percentage what you feel you should get as profit. But be careful, don't shortchange yourself. The minimum profit we suggest is 20%. And then you should try for 30 or even 40% or more. For our example, let's use 30%. Now take these 2 percentages, 25 and 30, add them together, and you get 55%. This 55% is the amount you must factor into each job to cover your overhead and profit. But we still don't know what to charge for the job yet. Okay, here's how it's done. You know that you need 55% of your total fee to represent overhead and profit, and that $13.50 is your direct cost. If 55% is overhead and profit, the $13.50 direct cost is the remaining 45% of your total fee. 55 and 45 equals 100%. So take your calculator and simply divide 13.5 by 0.45. The answer is 30. The total customer charge for the delivery will be $30. $13.50 for direct costs and $16.50 for overhead and profit. Now you're costing jobs professionally. Flying blind is for amateurs and birds. And one final thought on costing. When you're at a seminar, don't ask the instructor what he or she would charge for a design or decoration. Their overhead is likely to be quite different from yours, so customer charge is irrelevant. It's more valuable to ask how much material costs and what expenses were involved and how many labor hours it took to create. This information will allow you to calculate what your direct cost would have been, and by plugging in your own percentages for profit and overhead, you can come up with your own realistic final customer charge. And if the instructor doesn't know his materials, labor, and expense costs, you may not want to listen to him on pricing anyway. And we'll be right back after this break.
Rocky Toomey on business.
You got to treat it like any other business. It's basically, if you don't know the business side of it, the creative end isn't going to go anywhere. If you don't know what to sell your services for, I don't care how creative you are, you're not going to make it. The business aspect is so important. And I will be the first to admit that the creative part of me was the first thing that generated my business. It got to the point that my creative end the business end wasn't keeping up with the creative end. And to the point that now I have to sit down and make myself do a cost analysis of the job before I go out and do the job. I have grandiose ideas. They're fantastic. But when I put them down on paper and see how much they cost, I start looking at it and say, there's very few people I can sell this project to. There may be some out there that I can. But basically, I know what my costs are. I know what I'm going to incur to do that job. And if it's way out of scope, I can't sell that concept. I have to look at it from a different approach, maybe cost in fewer of the expenses that are incurred in making that job. So it has everything to do with it.
Well, that just about takes care of this edition of the Qualatex Balloon Network. We hope you've enjoyed Volume 1, Mastering the Basics. We're honored and proud that top balloon professionals in the world like yourself have chosen to join the QBN, both on and off camera. This commitment to continuing education is a strong sign of your desire to improve your business and will help propel the balloon industry towards the 21st century. As you know, to excel as a balloon professional isn't a chance thing. It takes a lot of effort, energy, training, and knowledge. Your commitment to making the most of your QBN membership will put you well on that path towards personal excellence. So get excited about your work and your business, and become determined to succeed, and take pride in being the best. We'll see you next time on the Qualatex Balloon Network.
Balloon professionals on the Qualatex Balloon Network.
QBN is providing finally some sort of standard quality that we can all aspire to, the information that we need in order to succeed. And not only that, but the thing that's most important to me is that there are no credentials in this business. Sure, you can win some awards and things like that, and that's very impressive, but there are no credentials until QBN that you can put on your business card and impress upon a customer, look, I am qualified. Go ahead and give me that big check.
It's just going to be a wonderful tool for me to improve my skills, improve my profitability, and I guess just most importantly, to feel better about what I do, and to know that I'm part of a growing professional international team.
In today's world, any job is going to require a continued education past high school. And if you don't have the college degree and you want to become a professional balloonist, by golly, you better get the education. To me, this is just as important as going to college to become an accountant or a doctor or whatever. And it's now available, and people that don't take advantage of it hurt themselves, because education is key to everything.
So I think the whole thing with the whole concept of this network is going to give everybody, the wholesaler and the retailer, a more rounded scope of what we are. It's going to give us a direction. It's going to give us a purpose to make all of our companies even stronger than what they are now.
In many other industries, professionals are certified and are educated, and there's never been a set program in the balloon industry where someone can actually have a goal to achieve in their educational process. Their only goal is that they could go back to their store and make a few more cute designs. But this is a long-term goal. This is something that members of the QBN will work on for many, many years, and this will help them in their business, and it will help the balloon industry grow. And I think retailers and decorators who become certified will enhance the balloon industry, because as many people know, when you see an awful decorating job or you see an awful balloon bouquet delivered, that hurts everyone in the industry. So the more people we have who are educated in our industry, it's going to help each of us.